Chapter 1394. Chuyang scratched his head. Smart kids remember Network Super Fast Hands update he couldn't understand. If eating the inner cores of spirit beasts could help one advance so easily, then, wouldn't other spirit beasts know? Based on this wind fox seemed to be a little different, but Chuyang didn't know that since ancient times, how many spirit beasts could bathe in the primordial violet vapor. But when Chuyang was in Tianji City, he also injected some into the wind fox's body. To the wind fox, this was simply a heaven-defying thing. He was only thinking that Chu Lere took out 7 or 8 11th and 12th grade spirit beast inner cores from the Yi clan, and they were all with him now. Chuyang originally wanted to give them to the wind fox, but now it seemed that it was better to wait until this thing woke up. If this thing exploded, wouldn't Mo Qingwu cry to death? This was her precious treasure. But as he thought of this, a thought suddenly flashed across his mind. This thought flashed through his mind. Chuyang was suddenly stunned and hurriedly caught it. After a long time, he finally remembered. Chuyang couldn't help but touch his chin and laugh. Looking at the wind fox in Mo Qingwu's hand, he was deep in thought. Chuyang suddenly thought that Mo Qingwu was ultimately an important part of him. Whether it was in the heavens or in the heavens in the future, she was indispensable. He couldn't be by her side all the time. But the wind fox could. Although the wind fox was powerful now, it might not be much when it came to the heavens. But if he started to increase the supply of inner cores now, would he be able to cultivate a unique divine beast in the heavens? If that was the case, wouldn't it be equivalent to having a super bodyguard by Mo Qingwu's side all the time? If it reached a certain stage. In that case, all of his worries would be gone. Chuyang touched his chin and looked at this palm-sized thing. This was the first time he had spent so much effort on this thing. If he were to make such a plan, then from now on, he would have to collect a large number of spirit beast inner cores, the more the better. The higher the grade, the better. He would raise the strength of this little thing at all cost. Chuyang's eyes flashed and he secretly made up his mind. Brother Chuyang, you mean little snow? Could it have eaten too much? Mo Qingwu said worriedly, nothing will happen, right? These few days, I've been so scared. What if little Snow's stomach suddenly bloats and then explodes? Chuyang was speechless. The little girl's imagination was really rich. It's okay. Chuyang comforted him. Little Snow is breaking through. When she wakes up, her strength will increase greatly. Mo Qingwu heaved a sigh of relief. Then, she patted her small chest. She looked at Chuyang with her watery eyes and said, that's good. Also, Chuyang, that saber you gave me, I only found out that day, it's really powerful. Seeing that Mo Qingwu had finally relaxed, Chuyang's heart also inexplicably relaxed. However, when the little girl patted her chest actually heaved up and down. Chuyang's eyes immediately widened. All of a sudden, her mind was filled with thoughts that were not suitable for children. Mo Qingwu snorted. Her pearly white teeth bit her red lips lightly. She squinted her eyes and looked at Chuyang like a little fox. She actually said in a sweet voice, "What are you looking at?" With that said, she took a step forward and exhaled a warm and sweet breath from her little mouth onto Chuyang's face. Then, she stuck out her small chest. He was very arrogant. In that instant, Chuyang almost turned into a wolf. He couldn't wait to howl at the sky. Oh my God, please spare me, she's so young. But I can't eat her. Isn't this going to suffocate me to death? Chuyang dared to guarantee that if he made any movements now, Mo Tianji would definitely rush in immediately. At that time, he would really be like a mutton that couldn't eat mutton and would have a body full of mutton odor. But this little girl is seducing me. Where did she learn this from? Chuyang resisted the urge to have a nosebleed. Suddenly, he thought of this problem. He grabbed Mo Qingwu's hand and asked somewhat angrily, "Little girl, where did you learn this from?" Mo Qingwu's face immediately lit up like the morning sun. She lowered her head and didn't speak. "Page, tell me the truth," Chuyang asked. It's from the dream, idiot." Mo Qingwu's little face was as red as an apple. Her fingers pinched Chuyang's waist very familiarly. She said somewhat breathlessly, "Bad guy, in the dream, every time you play tricks on me, Chu Yang groaned and covered his face with both hands. Oh my god, Mo Qingwu even dreamed of those things? This is really. Mo Tianji, who was separated by a wall, also covered his face. At this moment, military advisor Mo was extremely angry. He hated it. His little sister at such a young age actually had erotic dreams for a man. What did this beast Chu Yang do in the past year when he wasn't by his little sister's side? Chu Yang was speechless for a long time. His eyes were spitting fire as he said, "Little girl, don't seduce me anymore, or else what do you dare to do?" Mo Qingwu had a victorious look. She raised her head high and looked at Chu Yang. Instead, she took a step forward. Her little chest was even higher. She said provocatively, "My second brother is here. What do you dare to do?" On the other side, Mo Tianji's face was full of tears. "I finally know that I still have such an important position. Although my second brother can't beat you." Mo Qingwu turned a little dejected. Second brother is really useless. Chu Yang couldn't help but laugh. He gently pinched her nose. "Little devil, you're so mischievous." Mo Qingwu's face turned red. Looking at Chu Yang's face that was close at hand, she seemed to have thought of something and her face turned even redder. At this moment, her eyes were hazy, and her shyness that seemed to want to look but didn't dare to look was undoubtedly revealed. At this moment, under the candlelight, Mo Qingwu, who was dressed in red, was hesitant to speak. Her jerky but bold action was simply a charming little fairy. Her eyes turned, and there was an inexplicable sense of seduction in them. Chu Yang looked at her and only felt his spirit waver. He was instantly lost in this deep affection. Chu Yang couldn't hold it in anymore. He hugged the little girl's slender waist. He pulled her into his arms forcefully. At the same time that the warm and fragrant jade was in his arms, he kissed her. Mo Qingwu was bashful. Suddenly, her vision darkened. Then, she felt a face pressing down on her. She couldn't help but open her mouth in shock. Then, her lips were sucked over. So it was Big Brother Chu Yang kissing her. Mo Qingwu panicked. She suddenly felt a burst of joy. She instinctively reached out to push him away. But just as she reached out, she was worried. What if Big Brother Chu Yang got angry? Before she could make a decision, a feeling that she had never felt before suddenly attacked her whole body. She felt her whole body go soft. She seemed to feel that there was a flexible tongue suddenly entering her mouth. Mo Qingwu's brain exploded. She felt as if her whole body was floating in the clouds. She was dizzy and didn't know what to do. She only felt that her body was floating up, floating and floating. That flexible tongue stirred in her mouth. Then, Mo Qingwu found that her lilac tongue was attracted. At the moment when the tips of their tongues touched, Mo Qingwu felt as if her soul was floating. She closed her eyes involuntarily. She instinctively tiptoed and welcomed Chu Yang. It was as if she wanted to crush her body in Chu Yang's arms to welcome Chu Yang's love. Chu Yang kissed the beauty in his arms carefully and gently. He felt as if he was completely lost. It was as if at this moment, he suddenly returned to the purple bamboo forest in his previous life. Suddenly, a kind of sad love rushed into his heart. He murmured vaguely, "Qingwu. Qingwu." He hugged her tightly. His voice was full of sad and desperate love. It was as if he used all of his heart, all of his feelings, all of his life, to call out this name. A silent melody seemed to rise in Chu Yang's heart. It was endless and indistinct. It was as if someone was singing softly, and someone was dancing with the wind. "You and I once met, thousands of rivers and mountains in the purple bamboo forest. I was down in the world, and your dance could topple cities. The bloody Jianghu road blocked your tenderness. How much love and hate, how much of the past, it was all in my heart, as red as blood. The road of the heartless swordsman, to Jun Wuqing. When I regretted that day, you were already a pool of blood. Who knew that I hated the earth and the sky? I wanted to hold your hand, but you were in the netherworld. How much love, could only go with the wind, could only be hurried. I met you again in this life. How could I miss your face again? How could I miss your tenderness again? The world has a lover, and this life is not alone. When two people are in love, thank the heavens. In this life, I can finally hold you in my arms again. In this life, I can finally hold you in my arms again. Don't ask for Jun Qingwu. Qingwu is also about love. Gently dance with the moon, dancing with the vast sea breeze in the sky. I will dance with you in the mortal world, and dance with you for life. Her voice was faint, and I don't know where it came from, and I don't know where it went. Chu Yang kissed Mo Qingwu. His heart was full of happiness, and it seemed like it was about to explode. In this land of happiness and satisfaction, tears rolled down his cheeks. Chu Yang had always been a strong person. In 2 lifetimes, the number of times he cried could be counted on one hand. There was almost nothing that could make him cry. However, only Mo Qingwu could easily hit the softest part of his heart, making him feel unbearably sad. Who would know that after missing out on a lifetime, he would carry that eternal regret, only to discover that he could start all over again, and meet again, and hold her in his arms again. That kind of feeling. Mo Tianji, who was next door, was about to rush over angrily, but then he heard Chu Yang's soft voice. That kind of soul-stirring and bone-deep love. Mo Tianji rushed out 2 steps and suddenly stopped silently. He sighed silently with a complicated expression. He looked at the silver-white moonlight outside the window and stopped moving. Big brother Chu Yang. Mo Qingwu's hot cherry lips suddenly came into contact with something cool. She couldn't help but open her eyes from her intoxicated state, only to find that it was Chu Yang's tears. You're crying. Chu Yang woke up from his endless dream and finally confirmed that Mo Qingwu was indeed in his arms. He couldn't help but smile emotionally. Yes. These are tears that I owe you. Mo Qingwu licked her little tongue lightly, and her expression became complicated. She recalled the ecstasy of the dream, and the saltiness of her tears sliding down her lips and flowing into her mouth. She murmured, Chu Yang, your tears are also salty. I've been writing this chapter for a long time. I want to complain, but I feel like I have nothing to say. I can only say this, it's very painful to write. G. Seeking monthly votes. RQ. Chapter 1395. Chu Yang hugged her and lowered his head slightly, pressing his forehead against Mo Qingwu's smooth forehead. He said softly, in this world, whose tears aren't salty, the taste of sadness, bitterness, and despair, whether it's an emperor, a general, a commoner, a demon, or a saint, are all the same. Mo Qingwu listened in a daze. Suddenly, she reached out her small hand and gently wiped away the remaining tears from the corner of his eyes. She said seriously in a low voice, Brother Chu Yang, I promise, you won't be sad in the future. Smart children remember the net, super fast hands update the net. She pursed her lips and said as if she was swearing, I will never make you sad. Even in the next life. Chu Yang's heart shook. Looking at the little girl's serious expression, he wanted to say, this sentence should have been said by me, but you beat me to it. But when the words reached his mouth, they turned into a gentle and satisfied sigh. He stared into Mo Qingwu's eyes and said wholeheartedly, I believe you. Mo Qingwu smiled brightly and nestled in his arms. She said dreamily, Brother Chu Yang, the feeling of being in your arms is really so blissful. It's as if I've been in your arms for all eternity. It's so familiar and intimate. The two leaned against the window and leaned against each other. For a long time, neither of them was willing to move or make a sound, for fear of disturbing the beautiful silence now. At this moment, Mo Qingwu gave herself to Chu Yang wholeheartedly. And Chu Yang also completely let down all his guard and completely relaxed. The only thing he could do was to enjoy this night with Mo Qingwu. Next door, Mo Tianji was already lying on the bed. He actually didn't practice martial arts tonight, nor did he plan anything. In fact, he had already fallen asleep. Faint snoring sounds could be heard. He seemed to have let go of the biggest burden in his heart. So, Mo Tianji also needed to completely relax for once. Mo Tianji, who was sleeping, had a happy and comfortable smile on his face. Unknowingly, the east was slightly bright. The night had actually passed. The morning wind blew over. Chu Yang and Mo Qingwu both felt a little cold. Mo Qingwu reluctantly raised her head from Chu Yang's arms and then took 2 steps back. Looking at the wrinkles on Chu Yang's black clothes that her face pressed against his chest, she couldn't help but wrinkle her nose and said regretfully, It's dawn. Chu Yang also felt a little unsatisfied. That's right, it's daybreak. Mo Qingwu giggled. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something, and her small face turned red. She raised her head and quickly glanced at Chu Yang. Then, she suddenly lowered her head again. Even her neck was red. She stammered for a long time before she said in a low voice, "Big brother Chu Yang." You what?" Chu Yang asked in puzzlement. I. Mo Qingwu tilted her head. Her face turned red, but she still bravely said, "I like it. You kissed me." Chu Yang smiled dotingly and rubbed her hair. She whispered, "Brother Chu Yang also likes to kiss you." Mo Qingwu's black and white eyes rolled. "Then, when there's no one around, we'll kiss again?" Chu Yang said excitedly, "Okay." His stomach groaned as he thought. She was always teasing him, yet he couldn't eat her. It seemed like he was going to suffer in the future. Did you know that when that kind of impulse comes up and you can't find a way to vent it, a certain place will hurt a lot? However, although he was a little beastly today, little Wu's first kiss was. Chu Yang licked his lips and suddenly revealed a lascivious smile. It was very sweet. Minister Chu had endless aftertastes. Mo Qingwu obviously didn't have such concerns. The little girl was already giggling. She turned around and walked away. With her hands behind her back, she skipped a few steps in the room and said, "And this saber you gave me, I really like it. It's nice and sharp, haha." He frowned. "It's just that killing people is too disgusting." Then, he smiled in relief. "Fortunately, the saber doesn't get stained with blood. Otherwise, it's really..." Speaking of dreaming of a Qingwu saber, Chu Yang suddenly remembered. It seemed that now was the time to strengthen the weapons of his brothers again. At present, he really had a lot of heavenly treasures in his hands, and he even had gold essence and jade. After this upgrade, the weapons of his brothers would definitely be a level higher. He couldn't let those heavenly treasures rot in the tribulation space, right? Looking at Mo Qingwu's dreaming of a Qingwu saber, Chu Yang smiled. "Little Wu, give me your saber." Chu Yang took out the gold essence and jade and put them together with some other materials. He was about to get to work. The great battle was imminent. If the weapons could be upgraded to a level higher, it would be extremely beneficial to the brothers. In fact, Chu Yang was even thinking of using the souls of purple crystal and various heavenly treasures, as well as Shui Leihan's fine wine, to upgrade the strength of his brothers again during this period of time. Only then would he feel more at ease about this trip to Aspen Valley. "Little Wu, go and call your second brother, Dong Wushang, Jiyu Duxing, and the others over. Tell them that I want to reforge everyone's weapons." Mo Qingwu agreed and walked out briskly. In the tribulation space, the sword spirit who had been in seclusion all this time suddenly spoke. "Lord Swordmaster," the sword spirit said, "I've been thinking about that strange spring water." Chu Yang was startled. He asked, "What spring water?" "Oh, the spring water from the mines in Aspen Valley? The one that confuses people?" The sword spirit said, "That's right. Ever since old Master Yang mentioned this, I've been thinking about it. Now, I finally have some clues." The sword spirit's voice was rather low. "If I'm not wrong, it should be where the evil illusionary jade crystal comes from. Wherever the evil illusionary jade crystal is, it will definitely give birth to a spring called Evil Spirit Illusionary Spring. Some people also call it Evil Spirit Illusionary Water. The water that the Yang clan drank should be the outermost spring water that seeped out after being diluted countless times." Chu Yang perked up. "What do you mean? The evil illusionary jade crystal from the Great Elixir Land?" Chu Yang was rather excited. If he could get the evil illusionary jade crystal, then, wouldn't he have more than half of the Great Elixir Land? At present, he already had mysterious ice jade ointment, mysterious young jade essence, heavenly poison jade crystal, mysterious jade spirit ginseng, wind and thunder heavenly heart and heavenly jade ointment. If he added the evil illusionary jade crystal, Chu Yang's saliva dripped from the corners of his mouth. Almost all of them. Only the ethereal heavenly crystal and mysterious heaven divine essence left. The Great Elixir Land has all kinds of effects. It's not necessarily to save people or help them. Instead, it has its own effects. And the evil illusionary jade crystal is the most special one. Because the evil illusionary jade crystal can save people as well as harm them. For those who have lost their minds, are split or are dispirited. The evil illusionary jade crystal can heal them and also make them worse. And the evil spirit illusionary water also has such an effect. However, it's still a little inferior to the evil illusionary jade crystal. As for the other great elixir land's strange effects, I don't know about them. Now, the people of the Yang clan have lost their minds after drinking that water. As far as I know, in this world, other than the evil spirit illusionary water, there's no other type of water that has such an effect. Chu Yang nodded. He expressed his understanding. Suddenly, a light flashed in his mind. He said, "That's not right." The sword spirit said, "What's not right?" Chu Yang frowned. He thought for a while. He said, "This is the land of dragons and phoenixes bringing prosperity. And also where the seventh fragment of the tribulation sword is." But the sword spirit said, "Of course." Chu Yang said, "I remember you once said that when we were in Great Jiao, the seventh fragment of the tribulation sword will be accompanied by the appearance of the heavenly crystal spirit spring. And this heavenly crystal spirit spring is 100 times stronger than the vitality spring water. But now, if what you said is true, then this is the evil spirit illusionary spring. It's thousands of miles away from the heavenly crystal spirit spring. They can't be mentioned in the same breath. So, does this mean that there's no tribulation sword here? Or, what you said back then was simply wrong? Chu Yang frowned. The sword spirit smiled faintly. "Your memory is really good. Back then, I just said it casually and you remembered it completely." He paused and said, "This is the land of dragons and phoenixes bringing prosperity. As the name suggests, both dragons and phoenixes are here. And dragons and phoenixes are two groups of ancient rulers. Although they don't interfere with each other's business, they look down on each other. They can't be said to be mortal enemies, but they never get along. So, dragons and phoenixes will never live together at any time. This is the reason. Dragons and phoenixes are the mascots of the common people on the continent. Even the emperor calls himself a dragon, and the emperor must wear a dragon robe. This is the reason. But there's a big mistake in this, and that is the pairing of dragons and phoenixes. Generally speaking, the emperor wears a dragon robe, and the empress wears a phoenix robe. It's a big mistake to think that they are a pair. There are also people who say that dragons and phoenixes symbolize the harmony between husband and wife. This is even more nonsense. Dragons and phoenixes are completely unrelated, said the sword spirit. Chu Yang humbly accepted the advice and said, "I understand." But he was puzzled. The sword spirit's reaction to the matter of dragons and phoenixes being equally famous was clearly too intense. Why was this? He was just a sword spirit. Why was he so? Chu Yang couldn't describe what he was feeling. It seemed to be indignation. Indignation? The sword spirit took a breath and said, "Also, dragons are actually not so upright. As the ancient saying goes, evil dragons and phoenixes. Dragons are lustful by nature and have a seductive nature. Chasing after beauty is the favorite of dragons, and they don't reject anyone. The extent of their lust is outrageous. So, this evil spirit illusory spring corresponds to the dragon race in the land of dragons and phoenixes bringing prosperity. Also, dragons are naturally stingy. Every dragon is a standard moneygrubber. Also, dragons are narrow-minded and short-sighted. They are arrogant and think too highly of themselves. In my opinion, dragons are really the most detestable race. Phoenixes are different. Phoenixes are naturally upright and loyal. They have always been the most beautiful symbol. They are pure and noble, have a big heart, and have always been responsible for saving the world and benefiting the people. They are benevolent and righteous, and have noble character and unquestionable integrity. Chu Yang looked at the sword spirit with black lines all over his head. This guy, after infinitely belittling the dragon race, actually raised the phoenix race infinitely. He trampled the dragon race into hell, but raised the phoenix race into heaven with one hand. Today's update. I will continue to write and strive for a stockpile of chapters. Brothers, you are really cruel. 1,000 people voted, and more than 100 votes didn't let me rest. Boo-hoo, this is a good comparison. In an office building, everyone went to play during the new year. Some danced Yanko, some set off firecrackers, and I was the only one working overtime upstairs. Then, there was a joyous atmosphere all around. Writing in this kind of situation is torture, don't you know? Chapter 1396. The sword spirit wasn't stingy with his praises for the phoenix. He went on and on for half an hour, but he wasn't done yet. All in all, the phoenix's nobility, benevolence, forgiveness, and righteousness caused it to be at odds with the dragon race. Therefore, in order to restrain the evil of the dragon race, there will naturally be a sky crystal spirit spring that can purify the world and eliminate hallucination poison. The sword spirit heaved a huge sigh of relief. Therefore, if there are evil illusionary jade crystals and evil spirit illusory springs in the dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity place, then there must also be misty heaven crystals and sky crystal spirit spring. Therefore, this time, if you can get the 7th fragment of the tribulation sword, you will be able to take 2 of the great elixirs for yourself. Chuyang felt dizzy for a moment. He was even more certain that the sword spirit was definitely related to the dragon and phoenix races. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so agitated. At the same time, Chuyang felt as if he had been hit by a huge pie that fell from the sky. This huge surprise made him dizzy for a moment. Smart kids remember Network Super Fast hands 2 pieces of great elixirs at once, and 2 big exotic spring waters, and the tribulation sword, and the remains of the dragon and phoenix. If this wasn't a pie that fell from the sky, what was? Of course, this pie would only be his if he ate it. If the sky crystal spirit spring is combined with the spiritual spring water now, it will become the Holy Spirit spring water, which is 1 step higher than the spiritual spring water. With this buffer, when you want to get the spirit seed and catalyze the spring of life, the quality of the spring of life can reach the most perfect level in an instant, or even exceed it. The sword spirit said, when that time comes, you will have a unique treasure in your hands. Chuyang's eyes lit up. In that case, this place of dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity is actually so good. The sword spirit said, this is the real place of dragon and phoenix, but it's not bringing prosperity. Instead, when the world was destroyed, the leaders of the dragon and phoenix races had no choice but to join forces. When they fought against that mighty figure who could fold the heavens, they failed here. That's why there's such a strange phenomenon. The sword spirit said, dying together with a dragon is really something a phoenix can't tolerate the most. Chuyang was speechless. Evil dragon. Dying together with a phoenix is simply tarnishing the phoenix. The sword spirit said hatefully. Oh, right. If you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have remembered it. The sword spirit said, speaking of evil, look at your brother Tribulation. Ao Xieyun is a dragon. One could tell from his name that he was no good. There was a word evil in his name. But Rui Butong was different. How humble was it to directly say that he didn't know anything about it? Modesty is the greatest virtue. Chuyang wanted to faint. This could be explained in this way. He didn't come up with this name himself, right? Besides, after interacting with him for so long, why can't I see the slightest bit of modesty in Rui Butong? I only saw this guy being arrogant and domineering. Moreover, although Ao Xieyun's name had the word evil in it, he wasn't evil at all. Other than being a little stingy. But this kind of stinginess was relative to his own brothers. However, he was definitely not stingy. The sword spirit's words were obviously biased. Mo Tianji and the others had already arrived while Chuyang was talking with the sword spirit. In their eyes, Chuyang had lowered his head. It seemed as if he had sunk into a state of deep contemplation for a long time. Therefore, no one dared to disturb him. They all quietly waited at the side. What is boss doing? Jimo muttered in a low voice. He should be thinking about something. Rui Butong was full of himself. Actually, this couldn't be blamed on him. Right now, Rui Butong was full of smugness. Originally, he was among the brothers. He was the one at the bottom. Now, he had become the one with the highest cultivation. Even Jiu Duxing's cultivation wasn't as high as his, How could this not make Rui Butong ecstatic? If Chu Yang hadn't gathered everyone here for something, Rui Butong would have challenged him long ago. In fact, he had even thought of a slogan, "Second brother Ji, come, let me teach you a lesson. I'll beat you into second brother Sof." Ao Xie Yun said, "Are you thinking about something else? Is boss feeling melancholy?" Rui Butong smiled. Boss is thinking. Why is Xie Danqiong a rabbit? Why isn't Ao Xie Yun a rabbit? Ever since this guy learned about the situation back then, he couldn't stop talking about it. He had practically become a warmonger. Along the way, he had already fought with Xie Danqiong several times. This time, it was even worse. He even brought Ao Xie Yun into the picture. And, for some reason, once he said this to belittle Ao Xie Yun, Rui Butong suddenly felt very good. He had a feeling of a surf singing a song. It was as if the clouds had been pushed aside to see the blue sky. It was too good. That was the kind of extreme pleasure that came from the soul to the spirit and then back to the body. With such thoughts in mind, Rui Butong added, "Maybe Ao Xie Yun has long been a rabbit. Back then, he was together with Meng Luo for such a long time. Everyone knows that Meng Luo is a pervert. Maybe Ao Xie Yun has long been." Ao Xie Yun was pissed. He exploded at once. He rushed up at once. Rui Butong was waiting for this moment. He shouted, "Watch me beat the rabbit up." With a somersault, they were instantly engaged in a fierce fight. Ao Xie Yun was only a third-grade beginner supreme martial artist now, while Rui Butong was already a fifth-grade supreme martial artist. Under the suppression of absolute strength, Ao Xie Yun was beaten to the ground in just a moment. By the time Chu Yang opened his eyes, Ao Xie had already turned into a pig's head. When Chu Yang opened his eyes, he realized that there was a huge commotion around him. When he turned to look, he couldn't help but believe the sword spirit's words a little more. Wasn't this right beside him, and a dragon and a phoenix were fighting like a litter of pigs? Facts spoke louder than words. But this was only the sword spirit side of the story, and it was very biased. He would have to see the land of dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity before making any plans. Ao Xie Yun limped forward and hugged Chu Yang. He wanted to cry but had no tears. "Boss, you have to help me. I also want to become a fifth-grade supreme martial artist." Chu Yang was stupefied. He almost burst into tears. "Xie Yun, it's not just you. I also want to become a fifth-grade supreme martial artist. Ha ha ha." The few of them laughed. "Stop fooling around. Take out your weapons and tell me what you want." Chu Yang said seriously, "The battle is imminent. Let's settle the hardware first." The first was, of course, Jiyu Duxing. With a flip of his hand, the black dragon sword appeared in his hand. "Boss, I don't need it to be sharper. I just need it to be tougher. So that my black dragon won't get hurt easily. There's no need to change its length, width, or thickness. It's okay to make the sword a little heavier, preferably 23 to 24 kilograms. Chu Yang focused his eyes on the black dragon sword. He saw that the sword was shining all over, and a sense of joy and gratitude seemed to be faintly spreading. Jiyu Duxing's first request wasn't to kill the enemy. It was to take care of his sword. This made the black dragon sword, which had already begun to develop a spiritual nature, react naturally. A sense of relief and joy, the kind of feeling of a gentleman dying for a bosom friend, filled it at once. Jiyu Duxing himself didn't expect that his first request would make his divine weapon completely integrate with himself. Jiyu Duxing couldn't sense it, but Chu Yang's and the sword spirit's combined divine senses could sense it completely. The sword spirit sighed. Another true godly weapon has appeared in the world today. As a sword spirit, he naturally knew what the fluctuations of the black dragon sword represented. If a sword had a spirit, it would have a heart. If a heart, it would have a soul. If it had a soul, it would need to belong and attach itself to it. And the black dragon sword, an ancient divine weapon that had gone through who knows how many generations of masters, finally and completely recognized Jiyu Duxing at this moment. From this moment on, in the whole world, only Jiyu Duxing could use the black dragon sword. To put it inauspiciously, if Jiyu Duxing died one day, then this black dragon sword would also explode at the same time. This was a real spiritual sword. The second was Mo. I also want to strengthen my sword. It's best that the weight doesn't change. If it can be dozens of times sharper, of course, it's best. Chu Yang rolled his eyes at him and said, "Put down the sword. Get lost and wait at the side." Mo didn't care about his impoliteness at all. He put down the sword and excitedly went to the side, sighing. Aobua hasn't abused me for a long time. He actually missed the abuse very much. All the brothers were speechless. Dong Wushang stepped forward. "My dark saber has been a little light recently. It's better to be heavier and stronger." Chu Yang raised his eyebrows. The others also had a look of disbelief on their faces. 570 kilograms, you still think it's light? How heavy do you want it to be? Asked Chu Yang. 1,500 kilograms should be the most suitable. Of course, if it's an 8th grade supreme martial artist, if it's only this size, 1,500 kilograms, that would be the best, said Dong Wushang proudly. All the brothers were shocked. 1,500 kilograms. This guy really dared to say such things. Chu Yang agreed very readily. Okay, the original shape is the same. 1,500 kilograms, I'll do it for you. Dong Wushang was overjoyed. Thank you, boss. Next, Luo Kedi also requested a sword. Ao Xieyun also asked for a sword. Rui Butong, on the other hand, requested, I don't need an increase in quality. I still want the original short sword with some flaws. Give me another 1,000 kilograms, that's fine too. Ao Xieyun said fiercely, what do you want so many for? Are you going to stick them in your butt like a phoenix's tail? Chu Yang and the others laughed. Ao Xieyun's words were really a stroke of genius. Xie Danqiong naturally still wanted to make viburnum flowers. Furthermore, the Duke of Viburnum Flowers raised a request. Can you make me different colors, different weights, like that, 8 or 10 sets? Chu Yang agreed readily. Mo Tianji said, Danqiong's viburnum flowers are best used when people are least expecting them. I suggest that you get a sword to fool people. Also, the sword can't be too inferior. Xie Danqiong felt that it made sense. He kept praising Mo Tianji, saying that he was indeed a sly man of his generation. He was indeed vicious. Finally, it was naturally Mo Tianji. I want to refine the fan. It would be best if you could give me a good purple jade flute that can be used as a weapon. I also want a sword. The sharper the better, and it must be light. It would be best if it's not even 50 grams. Lastly, I also want 2 hidden swords, 2 blades for the bottom of the boots, a soft sword for the waist, a rebounding blade for the back, and 2 triggering swords for the chest. The series of requests made all the brothers admire him so much that they wanted to prostrate themselves in admiration. Sly people are indeed sly people. I can't compare. Recommended a new book, Bandits Rule the World, a Xianxia novel. Those who are interested can go and take a look. Chapter 1397. Chu Yang also clicked his tongue. Smart kids remember network super fast hands. These weapons that Mo Tianji wanted were all used for surprise attacks. When they were forced into a corner and attacked by the enemy, they could also automatically rebound to kill the enemy. It was obvious that Mo Tianji was preparing for the future. Chu Yang busied himself for an entire day to fulfill his brother's strange requests. It was finally completed in the end. The gold essence jade was used up, and the other few pieces of top-grade meteoric iron and strange ores were also almost used up. After calculating for a moment, he realized that he had used up a total of 70,000 kilograms of strange metal to completely refine the essence. This time, the Calamity Sword didn't participate in the absorption. It absorbed all the essence of the golden crystal iron into the weapon. Other than Rui Butong's, which was made to ensure sharpness and rough craftsmanship, everyone else did their best. Chu Yang was very confident that Jiyu Duxing's Black Dragon Sword, Dong Wushang's Dark Saber, Xie Danqiong's Viburnum Flower, Ao Xieyun's Dragon King Sword, Mo Tianji's Purple Jade Flute, and Mo Qingwu's Dreaming of a Gentle Dance Saber could become weapons with spirituality. As for Ji Mo's and Luo Kedi's swords, it would depend on how well they communicated with their weapons. If they didn't communicate with their weapons, even if they held a divine sword in their hands, it would still be cold metal. It wasn't that the material wasn't good enough. What was worth mentioning was Mo Tianji's purple jade flute. Out of consideration for his uncle, Chu Yang made it completely of purple crystal jade essence and even mixed in 2 pieces of souls of the purple crystal. Mo Tianji loved the purple jade flute so much that he couldn't put it down. He put it to his mouth and blew. The sound of metal and stone pierced through the air. Mo Tianji was overjoyed. Ji Mo winked and came forward. "Brother Ji, how does it feel to blow the flute?" Mo Tianji was delighted. Without thinking, he said, "Great. Very great." Ji Mo laughed. "Then why don't you blow it for me?" Mo Tianji's face turned pale. He was careless and fell for this little trick. Chu Yang and the others laughed. Mo Tianji took a deep breath. He said to Ao Xieyun, "Weren't you curious about where that extremely bright gem of yours went? Danqiong, do you know who was the one who scared your wife to tears at your husband's party? Duxing, do you know who came up with such a bad idea to disturb the bridal chamber on your wedding night? No, I won't say anything else. Ji Mo often laments, without Rui Bu Tong by my side to take a beating, my hands always feel itchy. Little wolf, it's been hard on you to call him brother every day. What are you doing up in the middle of the night? All of us know. Who said so? Hee hee. Wu Shong, someone is very arrogant. He said that he had suppressed Dong Wu Shong and seized the position of third brother. It is said that he once said that even saber supremacy could only eat his fart behind him. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what you guys think about many things, but if it were me, Mo Tianji, I wouldn't be able to tolerate it. Suddenly, the heavens and the earth in the rear courtyard fell apart. Everyone looked at Ji Mo. It was as if they had seen an irreconcilable enemy. Ji Mo's complexion turned yellow in an instant, and he almost started crying. Under the fierce gaze of this brother of his, Ji Mo's legs went soft. Second brother Mo. Woo woo. You don't have to be so vicious. He didn't finish speaking. He wanted to run away. Beat him up. It was unknown who shouted. Following that, his brothers swarmed over, and in a few moves, he was overthrown to the ground. Then, a series of pi pi pa pa pu tong sounds rang out. His voice was hurried, like the wind blowing and rain hitting the banana leaves, but it was a little rough. Mo Tianji leisurely fanned himself with his folding fan. We are all brothers. Don't hit him too hard. Moreover, beating him once would be too easy for him. Let's take it slow and steady. Let's come up with a few different tricks every day, so as to avoid making second master Ji uncomfortable and letting third brother Ji take advantage of him. Presumably, he wouldn't be happy about this. Ji Mo screamed at the top of his lungs, "Second brother Mo, what kind of deep hatred do I have with you? I just said one wrong thing." Mo Tianji smiled in a carefree manner. After a long while, Mo Tianji fondly played with his new weapon. He was enjoying the sight of Ji Mo getting beaten up. Meanwhile, Chu Yang was wholeheartedly modifying dreaming of a gentle dance saber for Mo Ching Wu. Mo Ching Wu sat next to Chu Yang with her hand on her cheek. She was completely focused. At first, she was still looking at the changes of the saber. Later, she was looking at Chu Yang's face. It had to be said that a serious man who was completely focused on doing something was extremely charming. At this moment, Chu Yang was exactly like this. The little girl blushed. But, she still couldn't help but look. At first, she was secretly looking. Then, she blushed and lowered her head. Later, she looked openly. After a long time again, Ji Mo was crying and snot. He stuck out his pig-like head and said, "Brother Tianji, I was wrong. Second brother Mo, I was wrong. I've changed. I'm really not human. Please be magnanimous and let me go. Just treat me like a fart and let me go." Mo Tianji studied his fan, his flute and his sword seriously. He turned a deaf ear to Ji Mo. He just didn't look at Ji Mo. At night, Mo Ching Wu's saber was finally completed. Moon Breeze also came over at Chu Yang's invitation to have dinner with Chu Yang and the others. Everyone was sitting at the banquet table. Only Ji Mo was being ostracized. Wherever he sat, he would be attacked. So, he had no choice but to compromise and take a big bowl. Then, he picked some food with his chopsticks and carried it to one side to eat. Dong Wu Shong stretched out his hand and broke off a piece of the big bowl. Ji Mo looked around pitifully. No one paid him any attention. Knowing that he had angered everyone, he swallowed his anger and squatted at the side to eat. Everyone was laughing in their hearts but deliberately ignored him. They looked at each other from the corner of their eyes. He was like a beggar begging for food at the foot of the wall, a beggar who had just been beaten up. Rui Butong finally couldn't hold back and challenged Jiyu Duxing. In his mind, he should challenge Jiyu Duxing first and then big brother Chu Yang. Although he would definitely be caught up or even surpassed by these guys in the end, Rui Butong wanted to leave behind a glorious memory now. His memory this time was extremely glorious. Jiyu Duxing had used the newly forged and strengthened Black Dragon sword to pierce more than 300 holes in her clothes. More than 100 of them were bleeding. Even the belt of her pants had been cut. The Black Dragon sword seemed to be alive as it circled around Rui Fenghuang's little brother. Cold sweat broke out on Rui Butong's forehead. His little face was sallow with fright. When Jiyu Duxing finally sheathed his sword, Rui Butong had already changed from a phoenix to a dragon, the Azure Dragon. If Jiyu Duxing was already like this, how would Rui Butong still dare to challenge Chu Yang? Rui Butong, who was scared out of his wits, went to change his clothes while trembling with fear. He kept thanking the heavens. It was all thanks to second brother Gu's good swordsmanship. Otherwise, if he had made a mistake, he would have become a sinner of the Phoenix clan. After the meal, Yu Lingxue was in high spirits. He exchanged blows with each of the Tribulation brothers. Then, it was 2 people in a group, 3 people in a group, and finally, all of them together. In the end, of course, they were all defeated. Supreme Martial Artist, Yu said excitedly, not bad. You actually made me take 2 steps back. This sentence made the proud Lord Sword Master and all the brothers speechless and ashamed to the extreme. Mo Tianji was in charge of the battle tactics. Long after the fight, Rui Butong and Luo Kedi were still lying on the wall like dead dogs, not moving at all. These 2 guys were in charge of groping. In short, all the dirty tricks were done by the 2 of them. Therefore, it was a tragedy. In the second half of the night, amidst the laughter, Mo Tianji began to arrange the battle. Under Ji Mo's shameless request, bowing and begging, Mo Tianji showed mercy and allowed Ji Mo to be the first to go, allowing him to escape from the sea of bitterness. Before Ji Mo's cheers died down, Mo Tianji added another sentence: Jiyu Duxing and Ji Mo will go together and take care of each other. Ji Mo's face turned flat on the spot. Among all the brothers, he was not as afraid of Chu Yang as Jiyu Duxing. Chu Yang usually just said a few words, but Jiyu Duxing directly attacked. Back then, when Second Master Ji successfully joined the Heavenly Armament Pavilion, he was beaten into it by Jiyu Duxing. Although Chu Yang had some doubts about this arrangement, he did not ask. Instead, he secretly transmitted a few words to Jiyu Duxing. He still remembered that Mo Tianji said last night to let Ao Xieyun and Rui Butong go first. Why did Mo Tianji change his mind today? Jiyu Duxing and Ji Mo set off very quickly. Only in the afternoon did Mo Tianji set off with Chu Yang and the others. They went out of the Chu clan's gate with great momentum. Yu Lingxue followed at the back, holding the line, invisible and formless. Why did you let Duxing and Ji Mo go first? On the way, Chu Yang found an opportunity. I originally wanted to let Ao Xieyun and Rui Butong go first, but, after thinking about it, although they are from the Dragon and Phoenix races, it might not be a good thing for them to go, said Mo Tianji. Why? Chu Yang was confused. Wouldn't the Dragon and Phoenix races complement each other if they went to the land of dragons and phoenixes bringing prosperity? Why was it not a good thing? There are skeletons of dragons and phoenixes there, and their power should be complete. Mo Tianji's expression was solemn. If Ao Xieyun and Rui Butong were to sense the force field there, I'm afraid it would harm them instead. Chu Yang immediately understood what Mo Tianji was worried about. The land of dragons and phoenixes over there might not have no connection with the dragon and phoenix races. If there was really no connection, Ao Xieyun and Rui Butong would have the same effect as the others. But if there was really a connection, Ao Xieyun and Rui Butong could sense it, but the enemy might also sense them. If that was really the case, it would be like sending sheep to the tiger's den. If we go this time, the traitor will realize that we are no longer in the Chu clan by this evening at the latest. Based on the invisible falcon's speed, the Xiao clan should be able to get the news by tonight. Mo Tianji said in a low voice, "What will they do when they get the news?" "I wish everyone a happy new year. After staying up all night, I've finally finished writing. I'm going back to my hometown to celebrate the new year. I wish everyone a happy new year. GRQ." Chapter 1398. Chu Yong pondered. If I were the Xiao clan, I would beat them at their own game and set up an inescapable net in front of the dragon and phoenix claws in the mine. Of course, we also need to increase our vigilance outside. We need to use strict vigilance to numb the enemy and make them fall into a trap to kill them. Mo Tianji smiled. Yes. So, we need to slow down. Firstly, we need to give Duxing and Jimo time to investigate first. Secondly, we need to let the Xiao clan set up the trap first. Then, we need to give them 1 day and 1 night to prepare. On the 3rd night, we need to create some commotion to let them know that we are already there and about to fall into the trap. Then, we can destroy the Xiao clan's camp directly at the time when they guess that we are going to act. Chu Yang's eyes lit up. Brilliant plan. Mo Tianji smiled sinisterly. This plan depends entirely on whether the traitor is responsible. Chu Yang laughed silently. Wei clan hated him to the core. Not being responsible was the strangest thing. Jimo and Jiyu Duxing continued forward. Along the way, Jimo was extremely obedient after being disciplined by Jiyu Duxing. He did whatever he was told. Even so, he was still beaten up 8 times. Useless thing. You have embarrassed me, second brother Jiyu said. I don't blame you for playing a prank on my wedding night. I also didn't beat you for others. I just beat you for being useless. Even Rui Butong is a 5th grade supreme martial artist. You are only 2nd grade. And only 2nd grade. Jiyu Duxing was furious. Jimo lowered his head, his face full of shame. Jiyu Duxing had the right to say so. Because, even if Rui Butong was a 5th grade supreme martial artist and Jiyu Duxing was only a 3rd grade supreme martial artist, Jiyu Duxing still beat Rui Butong up in front of everyone. If it was Jimo who went up, it would probably only take half a breath. Although Jiyu Duxing beat and scolded Jimo, among the brothers, he was the closest to Jimo. This continuous beating and scolding was also extremely exasperated. Jimo forced a smile. Second brother. As you can see, I also feel that Little Wolf and I are still a little low among our brothers. He sighed deeply. When it comes to aptitude, the 2 of us are somewhat lacking. Now, Big Brother and Second Brother are Sword Supremes, Dong Wushang is Saber Supremacy, Mo Tianji is a Divine Strategist, and Rui Butong has the Phoenix bloodline. Ao Xieyun has the bloodline of the Dragon race. Although Xie Danqiong doesn't have any special bloodline, once that viburnum flower appears, even you and Dong Wushang have to be cautious. In fact, they might even have to retreat. Only the wolf cub and I are left. Jimo was somewhat desolate, our aptitudes aren't high. And, we don't have any special bloodline either. Nor do they have any outstanding specialties. Second brother Jiyu, you also know that some time ago, Little Wolf actually cut off all of its flesh and blood in order to practice martial arts. He practiced until he fainted. I, your little brother, also wish that I could pull out every single bone in my body to practice martial arts. But, talent. Jimo looked up at the sky and sighed. The 2 of us. I know him, and he also knows me. We haven't slept for half a year already, working so hard, we can only barely keep up with the rest of the brothers and then break through with the help of Big Brother's strength. Jimo hung his head dejectedly and said in a rare heavy tone, Second brother. Everyone practiced together, and all of you advanced by 10 feet. I could only move by 2 feet. Everyone wanted to rest, so the wolf cub and I secretly got up. The 2 of us took turns massaging each other to relax, And then we started. All the time, all the energy. Because of this, Luo Kedi didn't worry about marriage anymore. But we still couldn't keep up. Sometimes. I really want to die. Before he finished speaking, his butt was kicked hard. Jiyu Duxing scolded angrily, "You want to die? Sure. If you want to die, then hurry up. I'll watch you die. Don't dilly-dally." Jimo pursed his lips, and tears actually flashed in his eyes. After a long time, he suddenly threw himself onto the ground and cried loudly. Jiyu Duxing's eyes flashed with tears, but he pursed his lips and controlled himself from comforting him. Comforting him at this time would only make him weaker. The most difficult part of a man's heart could only be walked by himself. Jimo cried very sadly, very repressed. A young talent, talented and enlightened. It could be said that Jimo was already the idol of all the youths in the world. At the age of 21, he was already a second-grade supreme martial artist, facing a tribulation. With such cultivation, no matter where he stood, he would be the idol of everyone. However, he could not do it with his own brothers. Compared to his brothers, he was still very weak. Jimo was also a proud person. How could he tolerate it? He had been repressing it all the way until now, and he couldn't take it anymore. I don't know if everyone can understand this feeling. For example, it's like going to school. A person in an ordinary school is always the top, but when he finally gets into a key high school, he realizes that there are geniuses everywhere, and almost everyone is stronger than him. This is a kind of torture. Let me say this specifically. At that time, I was like this. If I couldn't defeat myself, it would really be a kind of destruction. And at that time, I didn't defeat myself. Sigh, I'm too long-winded. I'll add another 200 words in this chapter. I'm useless. I feel like I can only exist as a clown among my brothers. Jimo cried loudly. Jiyu Duxing stood in front of him with a cold face and black clothes, watching him cry, not moving at all. After a long time, Jimo's crying gradually quieted down. "Are you done crying?" Jiyu Duxing asked coldly. Jimo wiped his tears. Sobbing, he said, "I don't want to cry. You also know how to embarrass yourself." Jiyu Duxing sneered. "Damn it, why don't you try?" Jimo was furious. Jiyu Duxing snorted and slowly said, "When we left, Big Brother whispered a few words in my ear. He wanted me to pass it on to you." "What did he say?" Jimo panicked. "Boss said, as long as you cry, I'll tell you. Like now, you're indeed crying." Jiyu Duxing's cold and stiff lips revealed a hint of a smile. "Useless thing." Jimo's breathing quickened. "Tell me quickly, what did Boss say?" "Boss said, as long as you can get through it, overcome your inner demons, and continue to improve, then, you should know that when you truly transform into a strong person, there's a supreme grade boundary between immortal and mortal." Jiyu Duxing grinned. "Do you know what the boundary between immortal and mortal is?" Jimo's whole body trembled. Even his lips were trembling. When crossing that boundary, everyone has a chance to change themselves. Jiyu Duxing smiled. "We can't change anymore, but you and Little Wolf can. Only the two of you can, because you have the template, but we don't. But to grasp that opportunity, you must know in advance and be mentally prepared. Moreover, you must withstand all the pressure. Where can you go? If you can't, then no one can help you." Jimo's whole body trembled like a sieve. "Really? Absolutely true." Jiyu Duxing laughed mischievously. "Have you ever heard Big Brother tell a lie?" "No." Jimo said affirmatively. Then, his face flushed red with excitement. He clenched his fists tightly. "I will definitely surpass the boundary between immortal and mortal." Then, he said discontentedly, "Second brother Jiyu, you're so mean. You're so mean. How could you hide such good news from me the whole way?" Jiyu Duxing raised his eyebrows. "Boss asked me to do so. Why don't you go back and settle the score with him?" Jimo's whole body relaxed. He only felt that his life was full of hope, and he chuckled. He laughed and said, "Do you think I'm stupid?" Jiyu Duxing laughed. The supreme grade boundary between immortal and mortal naturally didn't have this kind of bone structure transformation. But Chu Yang had made up his mind to let Jimo and Luo Kedi complete the bone structure transformation at that time. Otherwise, these two brothers of his would be crushed by the excellence of their brothers sooner or later. In this section, Chu Yang saw it clearly. Mo Tianji understood in his heart. Jimo and Luo Kedi also knew in their hearts. Therefore, Chu Yang had already made thorough preparations. And even Jiyu Duxing didn't know about this matter that Chu Yang mentioned. And Chu Yang also didn't intend to let anyone know. Even after the transformation, he didn't intend to let them know. He only wanted to let Jimo and Luo Kedi know that this was the result of their own efforts. Jiyu Duxing smiled and said, "I'm only responsible for telling you. As for your fellow sufferer Luo Kedi, I'll leave it to you." Jimo was so excited that he did a somersault. He gritted his teeth. "I'll definitely make that guy feel like he's in heaven." He even cried today. Damn it, he wants to know without crying or making a fuss. Dream on. Wahahaha. Jimo was serious. Flashing with excitement and malice, it was obvious that he was already looking forward to how to deal with Luo Kedi. Jiyu Duxing let out a long sigh of relief. Aspen Valley. As the name implied, there was a stretch of aspen trees that rose into the sky. On average, they were so thick that it would take 5 people to wrap their arms around them. They were like giants standing in the entire valley. Within hundreds of miles, there wasn't a single other tree. On the opposite side, there were dense parasol trees. They were also tall and straight. The diameter of each tree was even thicker than the aspen trees. On the parasol trees, there were blackbirds' nests formed by natural trees. According to an ancient legend, planting a parasol tree would attract phoenixes. And the birds' nests that appeared on the parasol trees were called phoenix nest. Everyone should be familiar with this legend. Right now, Jiyu Duxing and Jimo were quietly lying in a huge phoenix nest. From their position, there was a huge mine 5 miles away. At this moment, there were people going in and out. And the legendary land of dragons and phoenixes was here. "Do you feel anything?" Jimo whispered telepathically. "No." Jiyu Duxing said indifferently, "I only feel that there are many experts here. The security is tight. And there's a kind of obscure energy, as if it's being provoked. If I'm not wrong, it should be the power of dragons and phoenixes. From this point of view, the corpses of dragons and phoenixes should still be here." Jimo took a breath. "I want to go down and take a look." "No." Jiyu Duxing was shocked. "It's too risky. There are so many experts here. If I go down, I'll only be courting death." "Don't be rash." Jimo turned around and said seriously, "It's precisely because of this that I want to go down. I keep feeling that this is a huge trap. And it's a trap specially set up for us brothers. We came first. If we don't find out clearly, when the brothers come, they'll probably be at a disadvantage." Jiyu Duxing pondered for a while and said, "In that case, I'll go down. You wait here. It's not that I'm looking down on you. You're better at fighting than me. But when it comes to this, you're right behind me. Even if I fart, you won't be able to smell it." Jimo said disdainfully, "Besides, if I get caught, no matter what you do outside, you'll be faster than me. It'll be more convenient. If you get caught, then I might really be at my wit's end." Jiyu Duxing thought silently for a while. Finally, he said slowly, "Be careful." Jimo raised his eyebrows. "Nonsense. I'm still waiting for the boundary between immortal and mortal." Then, he leaned over and whispered something in Jiyu Duxing's ear. Jiyu Duxing's eyes widened. This works too." Jimo was full of confidence. "Don't worry, I'm possessed by Mo Tianji right now. This plan is absolutely flawless." Jiyu Duxing was speechless. "I saw everyone's New Year's greetings. Thank you. I wish you all happiness. Gee, I rushed back to edit it and then rushed back immediately. Tomorrow's update will be at 17 p.m. Gee." Chapter 1399. Under Jiyu Duxing's gaze, Jimo put down his sword. His first action was to touch his own buttocks. He looked like he was about to vomit, But he did not put on any makeup. His face was still swollen, and now his eyes were swollen from crying. He pulled his hair, making it look like a chicken's nest. Smart kids remember network super fast hands. Then the two of them went down the tree like a wisp of smoke. Then they took a detour and went in the opposite direction, escaping more than 100 miles away. Then they rushed over in a panic, as if they did not know where to go. Along the way, strong winds blew, and the entire sky above Aspen Valley was like a hurricane. The Xiao clan experts in the valley were instantly alerted, and they all looked up. And at this time, Jimo roared, and with a bang, a mountain of dirt was lifted up. He roared, "I'll fight it out with you. Today, either you die, or I die," Jiu Duxing shouted, "Hand over that thing. I'll leave your corpse intact." Jimo laughed bitterly, and his desolate and sorrowful aura filled the sky. Under everyone's gaze, a mountain suddenly flipped over in a faraway place. In an instant, the whole earth was shaking, like a tsunami. Jimo immediately leaped up, and then he hit his own chest with his palm. With a scream, he used his original voice to roar, "I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." He spat out a mouthful of blood, spasmed in midair, and fell down in the direction of the mine like a kite with a broken string. The dust behind him had already covered the sky, and he could not even see his own fingers. It was as if countless ancient gods and demons were chasing after him. Many of the Xiao clan experts jumped up and looked into the distance. However, the sky was covered in dust and smoke. How could they see anything? The only thing that could be seen was a figure that seemed to have lost the ability to control himself, somersaulting in midair as he plummeted down. With such a rapid descent, none of the Xiao family experts at the side of the mine dared to step forward to catch him, nor did they have the time to react. In a flash, Jimo's body smashed into the mine like a meteorite. He let out an earth-shattering scream, and it was a scream. But it was the real deal. If he wanted to put on an act in front of these experts, he had to be completely real. With a loud crash, Second Master Ji's body smashed through several hundred feet of the mountain wall and landed heavily in the mine. Along the way, cracking sounds never ceased. All the bones in his body had probably been broken into countless pieces. Then, he let out a miserable groan, "Even if I die, that purple crystal soul of holy crystal, you won't be able to get it." His eyes rolled back, and this time, he was truly unconscious. Purple crystal soul of holy crystal? In the mine. A purple-robed Xiao family expert raised his white eyebrows and said in shock, "Keep him here." The experts of the Xiao clan, who were originally shocked, wanted nothing more than to grind Jimo's bones and scatter his ashes. But when they heard the words "purple crystal soul of the holy crystal," they were immediately stunned. A black-clothed and masked figure suddenly appeared in the middle of the dust cloud. His eyes shot out a terrifying murderous intent as he coldly shouted, "Since that's the case, I can't have it. No one else can get it." Suddenly, the long sword lit up. He swung it down fiercely from high up in the sky. A sword aura that almost split the heavens and earth struck down like a bolt of lightning. The shining sword aura split the entire mountain in half. It struck mercilessly at Jimo's unconscious body. "Block it!" A loud shout. Below, more than 10 Xiao clan experts, regardless of their cultivation level. They attacked at the same time. Jiu Duxing had already used up all his strength in this attack. It was extremely fierce. Before he attacked, he didn't dare to use his full strength for fear that these Xiao clan bastards wouldn't take him seriously. Once he saw that the Xiao clan had attacked, he was relieved and used 120% of his strength at the same time. There was a loud boom. The 17 Xiao clan supreme martial artists who attacked. 4 of the weaker ones spat out blood and fell out on the spot. The others also swayed violently. Fear and trepidation appeared in their eyes. This black-clothed man who suddenly appeared was actually so strong. More than 10 of them attacked together. Although it happened in a hurry and they didn't use all their strength, it was definitely not something that an ordinary 5th grade supreme martial artist could take on. As for those below 5th grade, they didn't even need to consider. In mid-air, Jiu Duxing let out a muffled groan. He was thrown up like a ball and flew up 1,000 feet into the sky. He raised his head violently and spat out a big mouthful of blood. He was shocked. Just these people who attacked were already shockingly strong. He really didn't know how many more people the Xiao clan had deployed here. There was a whooshing sound and a few figures leaped into the sky. They closed in on Gu Duxing. Gu Duxing retreated and slid out a few 100 feet. He said coldly, "Who are you people?" The leader, an elder, asked gloomily, "Who are you? How dare you behave so atrociously in the territory of the Xiao clan?" Gu Duxing was startled. He asked, "Xiao clan?" "Yes." Autumn soared aura. Suddenly, he turned around and flew out like a bolt of lightning. He shouted, "Since the people of the Xiao clan are here, then it's my fault for being rash today. I'll come and apologize another day. The mountains are high and the rivers are long." That expert from the Xiao clan didn't expect the other party to disappear without a trace with just a sentence. "Chase!" one of them shouted. That purple-robed elder said coldly, "No need to chase. If a 5th-grade supreme martial artist wants to escape, who can catch up? All of you, go down, below, in the mine." Jimo lay there covered in blood, his breathing weak. It was obvious that he only had one breath left. Above his body, there was a hole in the air, and light shone in. It was a few 100 feet high. It was a heavenly road that was smashed out by his body. The purple-robed elder stood beside him, his eyes flashing coldly. He sized him up and said indifferently, "Let him wake up first." Then he left with a flick of his sleeves. With his eyesight, he could almost count the few strands of hair on Jimo's head clearly. He could already tell that this guy in front of him was already hanging by a thread between life and death. Or rather, he could totally be counted as a living dead. If this was a ruse, this level was a little too much. "Elder Master, today's matter is really strange," another yellow-robed man said. The purple-robed elder said indifferently, "It's just two people fighting over a treasure. Since ancient times, wealth has moved people's hearts. Of course, we must be cautious in everything, but we must not be overly jittery and treat everyone as an enemy." "Yes." The supreme martial artists behind lowered their heads and answered. The purple-robed elder said, "Have there been any unusual movements recently? Check if there are any new news from the informant. Also, check on the Chu clan's movements and confirm if this person is really a ruse. Also, wait for him to wake up. Ask him about his background." "Yes." "Don't worry, Elder Master. Don't worry too much about him. Just wake him up and ask about the whereabouts of that purple crystal Bible soul, then quickly send him on his way. Our side can't afford to delay any longer." "Yes." This purple-robed elder was one of the two remaining elders of the Xiao clan, the younger brother of the founder of the clan, Xiao Chenyu, and the second of the tribulations back then, Xiao Chenlei. This time, at the land of Dragon and Phoenix bringing prosperity. To actually be able to mobilize him personally, it was enough to show how much importance the Xiao clan attached to this land of Dragon and Phoenix bringing prosperity. And Xiao Chenlei was also one of the only 3 middle-grade supreme martial artists in the Xiao clan. Although he was only an elementary-grade supreme martial artist, in this level Heaven's continent, he was enough to rank in the top 20. The words "purple crystal soul of the holy crystal" that Jimo shouted before he fainted were too powerful. The soul of the purple crystal was already a legendary item in the level Heaven's continent. Even with the Xiao clan's 10,000 years of accumulation, they only had one soul of the purple crystal. And that soul of the purple crystal was still in the purple crystal mine. It wasn't taken out. Everyone knew. The reason why the purple crystal mine existed was because of the soul of the purple crystal. With the constant nourishment of the soul of the purple crystals could be produced continuously. It took hundreds of thousands of years of nourishment for a single purple crystal mine to appear. But if the soul of the purple crystal was taken away, the entire purple crystal mine would immediately become rootless. Therefore, the importance of the soul of the purple crystal was practically unparalleled. Moreover, it was Jimo who shouted it. It was the purple crystal soul of the holy crystal. It was obviously of a higher level. To a super clan like the Xiao clan, the temptation of this was practically unparalleled. Even if Jimo was short-sighted and the so-called purple crystal soul of the holy crystal was actually just a soul of the purple crystal, the Xiao clan would still protect him first. And if they got it, they definitely wouldn't be disappointed. Jimo woke up and wanted to sit up. But he groaned in pain and lay down again. He murmured, "Am I not dead?" Beside him, a cold voice said, "All the bones in your body are broken. You'd better behave and not move." Jimo asked weakly, "Who are you? Did you save me?" That person said coldly, "If we didn't save you, could there be anyone else?" A face appeared above Jimo's head. Jimo took a look. What a long horse face. If this person's face was placed on a horse's head, no one would feel the slightest bit conflicted. It was really too vivid. Not only was the face long, but that nose, those eyes, those eyebrows, that mouth, that chin. Second Master Ji was stunned on the spot. What the fuck? A horse is talking to me. Is this hell and I'm already dead? The horse-faced man's face darkened at once. Around him, uncontrollable laughter could be heard. The horse-faced man snorted angrily. He waved his hand and said, "Fuck, you guys ask him." He turned and left. After everyone's explanation, Jimo finally believed that he had been saved. He immediately thanked them profusely and struggled to get up to thank them. But the moment he moved, he felt a sharp pain. His eyes rolled back and he fainted again. The Xiao clan members looked at each other. After a long time, Second Master Ji finally woke up again. He was in so much pain that he couldn't speak. The Xiao clan members had no choice but to treat him again. That was barely enough. "I'm a person with a hard life." Second Master Ji began to tell his story. In the story, he was the successor of a reclusive clan. His surname was Jiang, and his name was Jiang Yi. The reclusive clan was extremely powerful, but it attracted covetous eyes. Thus, he was implicated as a spy, and it was that person just now. Then, he found out that the Jiang clan's rise was entirely due to a piece of purple crystal soul of the holy crystal that contained ancient secrets. A certain mysterious force destroyed the Jiang clan overnight. He escaped with his life and fled all the way here. Chapter 1400. Second Master Ji was undoubtedly an expert storyteller. Smart child remembers the world, super fast hands. This was tempered by his countless lies and glib tongue. When this entire story was told by him, it was simply a story of blood and tears in the pugilistic world. Everyone who heard this story would never doubt the authenticity of it. Especially when Second Master Ji was crying as he spoke. That kind of speechlessness, that kind of grief and anger, that kind of despair, was really portrayed to the bone. The process was even more moving and could only be described in detail. How honest and strong his own family was, how inexperienced they were, how they were deceived, how they were negligent, how they were careless, how they were plotted against by the enemy, how despicable the enemy was, how meticulous their plan was, how strong they were, what tricks they used, who was their brains, who was their number one expert, how vicious and ungrateful they were, how the family met with trouble, how the fire broke out, how many loyal experts sacrificed to cover his escape, how they were killed, how they fought without hesitation, how they were heroic. As he spoke, Jimo was so moved that tears fell from his eyes. The 7 or 8 experts of the Xiao clan who were listening by the side also sighed. Some of them even had red eyes. My poor flying spirit beast. Jimo looked up to the sky and sighed. He thumped his chest and stamped his feet in grief. That was such a precious, obedient, adorable, beautiful, and loyal 10th grade spirit beast. That snow eagle. That snow eagle. That snow eagle. That snow eagle. That snow eagle had self-detonated in the sky and died. That was the only reason I had enough time to escape. My snowflake eagle ah. My snowflake eagle ah. When it was about to die, it looked at me with that expression. Although it was only a spirit beast, I completely understood its meaning. It wanted me to live on no matter what. Jimo bawled loudly, his heart broken. The experts of the Xiao clan. From being cold and impatient at the start, to being attracted later on. Then, they gradually immersed themselves in this story step by step, their eyes brimming with tears. They imagined a scene in their minds. A snowflake eagle was being chased by countless enemies, and it was already riddled with injuries. It resolutely threw its master far away, then turned its head to look at its master affectionately, and charged towards the enemies without hesitation. With an earth-shattering explosion, it became an eternal legend in the sky. Become the loyal soul of the universe, everyone sighed deeply. Such a spiritual bird, it was a rare sight. In the end, only one bastard managed to catch up with the enemy. That bastard was that ungrateful bastard. This person's surname was Luon, and he was ranked second. I have always called him Luon Larrower. This damned Luon Larrower, he has been chasing us relentlessly, trying to kill us all. If you hadn't saved me, I wouldn't have survived. I, Jiang Yi, will not be able to escape this calamity. My Jiang clan's blood feud is as deep as the ocean, my snowflake eagle. Jimo's eyes were brimming with tears. He looked at everyone with deep affection and gratitude. Thank you so much. You are all good people. You are all very good people. The experts of the Xiao clan felt somewhat ashamed. We are good people. We were just waiting to dig out your secret, and then we would slaughter you like a pig. Now, to actually be crowned with such a lofty honor of being a great good person, he was really ashamed to accept it. To think that I, Jiang Yi, can also be considered a genius of my generation. Second Master Ji boasted. His face was full of pain. All the meridians in my body had already been opened by the purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal when I was a baby. I was already a martial venerable when I was 3, an emperor level when I was 10, and a martial saint when I was 15. Now, I am already a peak second-grade supreme martial artist at 21. What a pity. The heavens don't wait for years. They actually allowed me to encounter such a disaster while I was advancing by leaps and bounds. All the bones in my body are already broken. Second Master Ji looked up to the sky and howled in grief and indignation. How can I take revenge for those blood feuds? These words made the people of the Xiao clan shudder involuntarily. Excitedly. Close to the peak. That purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal actually had such an effect. All the meridians opened when he was a baby, and he reached peak second-grade supreme martial artist at 21. With a whoosh, Xiao Chenlei appeared at the side and asked calmly, Jiangyi, let me ask you, what exactly is that purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal? What is its function? Everyone's ears perked up. Xiao Chenlei called him Jiangyi, but it sounded like he was calling him Chief Jiang. However, no one paid attention to it at all. Jimo said hoarsely, that purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal. Legend has it that it was the core of a huge purple crystal mine in ancient times. Countless souls of purple crystal can be derived from this purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal. Countless souls of purple crystal can be derived. Everyone gasped, their eyes filled with eagerness at once. Apart from the fact that the soul of purple crystal can assist in cultivation, as long as this purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal is placed in one's dantian for a day and guided by cultivation techniques, it can improve one's aptitude and open up all the meridians in one's body. Thus, there will be no more obstacles or bottlenecks in one's path of martial arts, and there won't be any inner demons. His tilde. There was a series of gasps. The supreme martial artists of the Xiao clan had practically sucked the entire place into a vacuum zone. Open up all the meridians in one's body, without any obstacles or bottlenecks. Without any inner demons. What the heck? This was practically one of the legendary divine pills that could send one to the heavens. Oh my god, Xiao Chenlei's eyes narrowed. Is there really such a thing? He reached out and placed his hand on Jimo's wrist, circulating his energy to check. At once, he discovered that although this person was seriously injured and his meridians were blocked, it was all because of his injuries. The meridians all over his body were indeed unobstructed. He couldn't help but ponder. After a long while, he asked dispassionately, where is this purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal now? Everyone's expression became anxious at once. All of them looked at this Jiang Yi with burning eyes, holding their breaths as they waited for his answer. With this question, Jimo fell silent. After a long while, he said hoarsely, although I don't know your identities, all of you have saved my life, which is already worthy of me offering up the purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal with both hands. It's a pity that the enemy is really too powerful. If all of you had gotten the purple crystal soul of holy crystal, I'm afraid you'd be asking for trouble. The corners of Xiao Chenlei's mouth curved. He said dispassionately, you don't have to worry about this. You just have to tell us where the purple crystal soul of holy crystal is. With difficulty, Jimo said, all right. Anyway, I have no hope of revenge, so I'll fulfill all of your wishes and repay all of you for saving my life. Xiao Chenlei saw that he was so understanding. He couldn't help but let out a rare smile. That purple crystal soul of holy crystal is hidden in my clan's secret ground. In the 100,000 mountains. As long as it's a direct descendant of my clan, when their limbs are healthy and full of vitality, they will be able to touch it. Once they cut their wrists and smear their blood essence on it, the secret ground will automatically sense it. When it opens, they will be able to see the purple crystal soul of holy crystal. Second Master Ji had used Ao Sheyun's dragon bloodline as a reference to open the secret ground. It was flawless. Xiao Chenlei's eyes flashed. In that case, outsiders can't open it at all? Jimo smiled sadly. Otherwise, why would my clan be persecuted like this? And why would they be so eager to hunt me down? Xiao Chenlei nodded. He somewhat believed this statement. He had seen a lot. Naturally, he knew all the mysterious existences. They couldn't be judged by common sense. And this method of opening the secret ground that required the direct descendant's bloodline was the one and only way for the powerful clans and clans of the Heavens continent to maintain their power for generation. Even the Xiao clan had such a secret ground. And that was naturally the supreme secret of the Xiao clan, the life-threatening injury that was absolutely true, the terrifying hunt, the fierce sword that split the mountain. The story was flawless. That extremely desperate and sorrowful expression, the display of true feelings, and that sincere and honest expression of Second Master Ji at this moment that even he was touched by it, and that genuine feeling of gratitude, it formed a vicious lie that one had no choice but to believe. Xiao Chenlei nodded and turned to leave. Before he left, he instructed, one must always be wary of others. Everyone who heard it once must think of a way to make this little guy repeat it a second and third time. In this way, use it for comparison, to make sure there's no mistake. In case there's anything suspicious, control your greed immediately and kill him. If there's nothing suspicious, treat his injuries immediately. At the very least, restore his mobility first, or at least to the point where he can move. Don't be like now where his bones are broken and he doesn't even dare to move. Then, move to the camp as soon as possible. After all, this was a mine. Firstly, it wasn't a place for treatment. Secondly, this place had become a huge trap. An impending killing scene. This Jiang Yi's body was involved with such an important thing, it was really not suitable for him to stay here. When his injuries recovered a little, he would send someone to follow him to retrieve the purple crystal and soul of the holy crystal. Jimo's injuries naturally wouldn't recover so easily. As he treated him, he started to get close to him. Calling him senior, calling him benefactor, and saying that he would repay him with all his might. Second Master Ji's little mouth was the embodiment of honey at this moment. The supreme martial artists of the Xiao clan sensitively felt that the elder master seemed to have some appreciation for talent, so they were much more polite to him. After all, even if he didn't appreciate talent, he still needed to use this little guy's bloodline to open the treasure. There should be no harm in chatting for a while. For a moment, everyone introduced themselves with the same name and became friendly. People kept coming in and asking Jimo questions. Jimo kept repeating the same thing over and over again. There was no flaw in his story. Everyone believed him without a doubt. Moreover, they all sighed endlessly. During this period, Jimo was also counting. There were really quite a number of experts here. It looked like the Xiao clan had really broken through. In total, there were close to 30 supreme martial artists who had come in, and there were 17 to 18 supreme martial artists of 4th or 5th grade and above. Such strength was really shocking and terrifying. After getting familiar with them, Second Master Ji finally spoke unintentionally. Strange, why are all of you here? I don't remember the Xiao clan being in this place. That supreme martial artist Horseface smiled. During this period of time, This person who Ji-mo had offended the moment he woke up was the one who chatted with Ji-mo the most and was also the closest. He said, "We naturally have an important mission here." "What mission is so important?" Ji-mo's eyes lit up. Chapter 1401. Mission. Of course it's a very important mission. Horseface was in a difficult position. Furthermore, once your body recovers a little, you'll have to move immediately. This place will become very dangerous. Very dangerous? You want me to move? That won't do. If something happens to all of you, can I still live? Ji-mo spoke eloquently about the matter of moving him. All of you are my saviors, of course I have to live and die with all of you. All of you are the people closest to me. How can I drag out an ignoble existence when all of you are in danger? Then wouldn't I be worse than a beast? If I don't do something for all of you, I won't be at ease even if I die. Please, let me do something for all of you. Even if I can't do anything, I'll feel comfortable accompanying all of you. In the face of such a sincere request, what could the Xiao clan say? And so, Second Master Ji stayed in the mining area. And all the way until late at night, the news came. Chu Yang and the rest of the Chu clan had left the Chu clan in the afternoon and were heading here. Xiao Chenlei pondered for a while. He had also wondered if this Jiang Yi could be a spy from the Chu clan. But the divergence in time dispelled a little of his doubts once again. And at this time, with the help of the Xiao clan's divine medicine, Ji-mo could already move around a little. Of course, it was still completely impossible for him to walk on the ground, but it didn't delay chatting at all. So now, Ji-mo already knew what position each supreme martial artist was in charge of. Benefactor. Where are you? Why do I feel like I haven't seen you for a long time? Benefactor. Is your position dangerous? Sigh, what a pity that my heart armor has been destroyed. Big brother. You are my biological big brother. Boo-hoo, I'm so grateful that you came to heal me again. Where are you? Can't you accompany me for a while more? Are you that busy, Elder Xiao? I really can't believe it. You are already 10,000 years old. This is really a miracle. Oh my God. I've finally met a living god today. Elder Xiao. Why don't I see you? Third brother Xiao. Oh, it's really tough. Come. Let's chat. I'll relieve you of your tiredness. Why? Why don't you chat with me? How did I offend you? I'll change. Second Master Ji's tone was sincere and his expression was pure. Moreover, if others ignored him, he would pester them. For example, did I offend you? Please be magnanimous and don't be angry with me. I'm still young and don't know what I'm talking about. Why don't you chat with me? I'm so lonely. Whenever I'm lonely, I'm reminded of my blood feud. Instantly, I feel like I have nothing left to live for. Thank you. Thank you for chatting with me. What should we talk about? Haha, seventh brother Xiao, why don't you tell me the story of this mine? Ha. Secret. Seventh brother Xiao, do you think I'm an idiot? Haha. This mine is obviously a purple crystal mine. Although I'm not that talented, I'm still very interested in a mere purple crystal mine. Oh, I see. Dragon and Phoenix. You're not bluffing, are you? This is impossible. How can there be dragons and phoenixes in this world? What a joke, fuck. This was actually real. Oh my God. I've misunderstood you. I deserve to die 1,000 times for my sins. Even if I die 1,000 times, I won't be able to atone for my sins. I'll repent. Is there a need for that? I don't think it matters. What Chu clan can be so powerful? Are they more powerful than all of you? I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I won't believe it even if I die. So they're really powerful. Ayaya, I want to live and die together with you. I want to live and die together with you. We hate being born on the same day, month, and year. But if there's really danger, we brothers will die on the same day, month, and year. I, Jiang Yi, won't have lived in vain. Although the supreme martial artists of the Xiao clan enjoyed his flattery, they were also somewhat depressed. After cultivating for so many years and becoming supreme martial artists, who would like to talk so much? But they didn't expect that this little one they saved was actually a super chatterbox. The most speechless thing about his little mouth was that even when there was no one around him, he could still curse at the air or mumble to himself. If a worm crawled past him, he would cry, "Worm, I really envy you. You're so carefree. How would you know my pain?" Everyone was really convinced. Damn it, after living for so many years, I only know what a weirdo is today. I dare to bet that if this little one died, that tongue of his would definitely be the last part to stiffen. After being tempered so many times, this tongue had already become a spirit. It was really too much exercise. Little did they know that in this glib tongue, Second Master Ji had already figured out the ins and outs of this place. Evening finally arrived. As the night descended, Chu Yang, Mo Tianji, and the rest also silently entered the Aspen Valley. Once they entered this area, Mo Tianji immediately gave the order for the brothers to split up and use their own methods to infiltrate the Aspen Valley. They gathered in front of the mine. The enemy must have set up an inescapable trap in the mine. As long as Elder Yu doesn't attack, we definitely won't be their match. So, in this battle, firstly, we need to snatch the treasure and secondly, we need to train our troops. It's obviously very difficult. So, we need to gather our troops and attack one place first. And now, we're splitting up for the upcoming battle. We definitely won't attack the mine rashly and fall into a trap. But, we need to create traces there. We must attract all their forces here. Then, we'll attack their main camp and cut off their supplies. Let them become rootless water. This time, we'll split up. Everyone must write down their methods to me completely after the battle, including their mentality at that time. Compared to snatching the treasure and the seventh fragment of the Calamity Sword, Mo Tianji obviously paid more attention to the methods of the brothers at this level. Although we're gathered together now, we may not be together forever. There will definitely be many times when we have to fight for ourselves. Our methods are very important. Facing the enemy this time will be the beginning of my training, so, everyone must complete it independently, Mo Tianji said solemnly. Chu Yang agreed wholeheartedly with this decision. The 7 brothers, Mo Qingwu, and Mo Lei immediately split up. Under the cover of the night, they silently disappeared into the bushes of Aspen Valley. Mo Qingwu. This time, she was also acting alone. The little girl was obviously a little scared. But Mo Tianji and Chu Yang hardened their hearts at the same time and ignored Mo Qingwu's pitiful gaze. The little girl pouted and went to carry out her mission, feeling wronged. Leaving behind 2 men who sighed deeply. You don't have to persuade me. I understand. Chu Yang and Mo Tianji said this at the same time. They opened and closed their mouths at the same time. The same conflicted expression of deep sighs. The same gesture of waving their hands. My sister needs training to adapt to the martial world. I understand this, but who do you think you are? Mo Tianji was a little unhappy. Chu Yang said earnestly, brother-in-law, there's something I have to remind you. Your sister is my wife. Do you know what the word wife means? You're like an old hen protecting its food every day. Interesting. It's true that she's your biological sister, but how long can you accompany her? Minister Chu said proudly, but my wife has to accompany me for thousands of years. You're just an elder brother. What nonsense are you? You're actually jealous every day for no reason. Are you a pain in the ass? Mo Tianji glared at him. You. What about me? Chu Yang had the upper hand and immediately counterattacked. I can take over your role as an elder brother. But can you take over the role of my husband? You're going against me and being jealous of me. Can you take it? Mo Tianji covered his face and left. Sword Master Chu let out a long breath and exhaled. Fuck, this time, it was an overwhelming advantage. It's really too satisfying. He had never felt so good in a battle with Mo Tianji. His body flashed and he disappeared into the bushes. Dong Wushong took the lead. His burly body used the cover of the night to choose a method that was almost open and above board. As for the concealment that Mo Tianji mentioned, Dong Wushong also wanted to do it. But he really couldn't do it. He might as well charge over in a semi-open manner. Furthermore, the more he charged, the more confident he became and the more aboveboard he became. It was like a gust of wind blowing across the ground. On Dong Wu Shong's right, not far away, was naturally Mo Lei. The black demon young master's entire body seemed to have merged into the darkness, flowing along with the night fog. Ever since she met Mo Tianji and Mo Tianji passed the old black demon's secret manual to her, Mo Lei had inherited this secret manual. With the help of her supreme martial artist cultivation, she naturally learned it immediately. It was like adding wings to a tiger. Ao Xieyun, on the other hand, was like a wriggling snake, silently slithering through the bushes. Everywhere he passed, there was no sound. Even the tender grass was not damaged at all. It was the dragon-shaped technique. The secret technique of the dragon clan. On the other hand, Rui Butong's body was like a large bird, flying freely in the dense forest without his feet touching the ground. His black robe fluttered in the wind. Even if one were to see him face to face, one would only think that this was a large bird and not a person. The Phoenix clan's free and unfettered travel technique, Luo Ku Di, on the other hand, strictly followed the art of concealment as he moved forward meticulously. His every move was as standard as a textbook. Xiedan Qiong's body spun forward. Although he spun quickly, there was no sound at all. His body turned into a blurry whirlwind as he spun. In such a state, not only could he conceal himself perfectly, he could also use his viburnum flowers to attack. It could be said that he could attack and defend at the same time. Mo Tianji's white robe fluttered, perfectly blending with the moonlight that occasionally seeped into the forest. It was like a piece of bright moonlight, moving gracefully. No one could see where Chu Yang was. But Mo Tianji could guess that in the forest, where the red flowers were blooming, Chu Yang would definitely be at the side. Because that was Mo Qing Wu moving forward. Mo Qing Wu was dressed in red. Wherever she passed, it was as if the grass was blooming with red flowers. But it definitely did not make people feel that it was out of place. In a field of green, the red flowers danced, just like the most exquisite dance in the world, soaring between heaven and earth. Attack from 8 directions. Target, purple crystal mine. Yesterday, I drank until I passed out. Brothers, having a father-in-law who is known as the wine immortal is really not a man's day. As soon as I left, I already said that if you drink a cup, I'll drink half a cup, okay? The old man said, then you have to drink with me to my heart's content. I thought, even if I get drunk, I can still drink 2 cups. No matter how big the old man's alcohol tolerance is, 4 cups should be about half a liter. So, I agreed readily. In the end, father-in-law drank 8 cups. When I got home last night, I couldn't get up no matter what. My legs were like 2 puddles of mud, I couldn't move. My wife tried to help me, but she couldn't. She carried me, but she couldn't. I heard that he called his younger cousin and carried me up. Today, I slept until the afternoon. I didn't even know that there was a guest at home. I only woke up at 3 in the afternoon. Only then did I know that I went crazy drunk at father-in-law's house last night. I slammed the table in front of him and said motherfucker. I heard that we were arguing about the war of resistance against Japan. Father-in-law is indeed a retired soldier. He followed me and scolded me. That momentum was earth-shattering. Mother-in-law called today and said that the father and son's alcohol tolerance is bad. Don't drink anymore. I heard that after I left, the old man took a knife and insisted on fighting ghosts. What the hell? Chapter 1402. The Chu clan has confirmed that they are heading in this direction. They should be able to reach Aspen Valley by dawn. Everyone, take note and be on high alert. Double the manpower in the direction of the valley entrance and keep a close watch. Check for traps. Supreme martial artist in position. Secret signal check. Everyone, send messages at any time. Prepare poison, poisonous smoke, and sleeping gas. Dragon bone incense in position. Smart child, remember the net and quickly update the net. Conceal all traces. In Aspen Valley, Ever since they received news of the spy hidden in the Chu clan, orders were sent out one after another. They were on high alert and ready for battle. All these orders were clearly investigated by the extremely curious Second Master Ji. On the other side, Jiyu Duxing and Second Master Jiyu were flying toward the purple crystal mine from high up in the sky at lightning speed. According to the original plan, Jiyu Duxing only needed to ask for time to start the operation immediately. He didn't have the slightest concern about whether his brothers were in position. The two first-grade supreme martial artists of the Xiao clan who were on high alert in the sky above the mine stood back to back, one on the left and one on the right. They looked at both sides without the slightest bit of negligence, paying attention to everything that happened. Suddenly, a gust of wind rose from the east, as if there were thousands of soldiers and horses surging toward them with an extremely majestic aura. The two of them were alerted at the same time and turned to look toward the east. All they saw was a dense forest. All the trees suddenly fell toward the west neatly. Countless red flowers and green grass flew into the sky. The world was instantly filled with a fierce and domineering murderous aura. In front of such an aura, everyone felt that their existence was like a small blade of grass in front of a tsunami. They had no power to resist at all and could only choose to go with the flow and surrender. The two of them were stunned at the same time. They were actually stunned for a moment at the same time before they shouted at the same time, "Be careful. Enemy attack !" Their voices were sharp and pierced through the night sky. The entire purple crystal mine was originally dark and gloomy, and now it was still dark and gloomy. But there was a heavy murderous aura. But at this moment, it condensed and flew. At the same time, a sharp force suddenly came from the west. It was sharp and indestructible. Everywhere it passed, the trees in the mountains and valleys were instantly crushed into powder. Even the mountain rocks were instantly turned into flying ash. Along with this fierce aura, streaks of crisscrossing sword chi were like streaks of lightning. It streaked across the sky. At the same time, an incomparably majestic and solemn sword cry suddenly resounded in the originally silent mining area. Clang! This sword chime was like thousands of horses and thousands of soldiers suddenly hearing the marshal's command. They responded at the same time, in unison. It was the swords of the several hundred experts of the Xiao family who were lying in ambush. All of them unsheathed their swords at the same time, letting out a crisp and clear sword hum. This sword hum caused the faces of all the Xiao family experts to change drastically. Sword Sovereign. A sword sovereign had participated in the sneak attack. Furthermore, their target was them. Only the sword sovereign could have such power. With this kind of ability, he was able to completely ignore the ambush of tens of millions of experts. With just a flash of his sword, he was able to completely destroy all the ambushes. The sword light had already answered for you. What was the use of lying in ambush? If you continued to wait in the same spot, you would really become the sword sovereign's target. All the sword experts cursed in their hearts at the same time. Fuck his grandmother. They had been lying in ambush for so long. After spending so much effort, who would have thought that there would be a sword sovereign among the enemies? Just one draw of his sword and it made Laro Bai busy. One by one, they appeared extremely depressed. With long swords in hand, they stared at the black-clothed figure in the clouds and night in the west. Only 100 or so saber experts were still lying in the same spot. As a surprise attack, a sword sovereign had already appeared. It was impossible for a saber sovereign to appear, right? That was too unreasonable. In the world, other than Ning Tianya and Bu Liuqing who were both saber and sword sovereigns, it was possible for them to appear at the same time. They had never heard of the two saber and sword sovereigns joining forces in this world. That was simply an impossible myth, a legend that could not be replicated. Therefore, the saber experts were all calm and composed. Looking at the helpless and depressed faces of their sword-wielding colleagues, they could not help but gloat. You deserve it. You have a saber but you don't practice your sword. You've suffered, haven't you? As the saying goes, if you don't practice your superior sword, you practice your inferior sword. If you don't practice your golden sword, you practice your silver sword. You guys have the same name as your weapons. Despicable. How good is it for us to practice our saber? How safe is it? We can hide here and no one can see us. We won't be alerted by a draw of a sword. It was at this moment that the majestic aura of thousands of soldiers and horses from the east suddenly grew stronger. With a whoosh, a hurricane visible to the naked eye suddenly formed. A burly and majestic figure suddenly appeared in mid-air. A majestic voice shouted openly, "Saber." Suddenly, a gust of wind and clouds surged between heaven and earth. It was as if countless thunderbolts had exploded at this moment. The whole world surrendered. Echoes came from all directions. Saber, 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 saber. The echoes from all directions converged into one sentence like a bolt of lightning, one word. Saber. The sky shook along with the thunder. Clang. Hundreds of shiny steel sabers came out of their sheaths at the same time. Under the night sky and the moonlight, countless blurry saber light flash. With a shout, all the supreme sabers came out of their sheath. They popped out spontaneously with awe-inspiring power, but it also exposed all the saber experts who were lying in ambush. They were still gloating a moment ago, and then they suffered the same fate. This kind of encounter made everyone, whether they used sabers or swords, have a feeling in their hearts. Things in this world are really fucking wonderful. Xiao Chenlei was so angry that his nose was almost crooked. Another saber supremacy. Today was really an unlucky day. Xiao Chenlei had always had a nickname, Saber and Sword Supremacy. He carried a sword and a saber with him all year round. This time, he was guarding the Aspen Valley in the southeast, so he naturally had to bring his own saber and sword. As a mid-level supreme martial artist, what else could he be afraid of? As long as Moonbreeze didn't come, he was invincible in this area, and the possibility of Moonbreeze personally making a move was infinitely close to zero. So Xiao Chenlei had always been full of confidence. And, according to the intelligence, although the people sent by the Chu clan had good cultivation, but they weren't in his eyes. And they didn't specifically point out that there was a saber sword supremacy among them. One must know that an existence like the saber sword supremacy was worth the detailed information of every spy. Since there wasn't, then he didn't exist. So Xiao Chenlei didn't take any precautions. In the whole 100,000 years of the heavenly layer, how many saber sword supremacies had appeared? How could they appear here so coincidentally among a group of juniors? It was with such a mentality that a sword light flashed, and the sword supremacy appeared for the first time. The sword at the waist of Xiao Chenlei, the mid-level supreme martial artist, was the first to react. With a clang, Xiao Chenlei, the mid-level supreme martial artist who was guarding the formation, was exposed. Xiao Chenlei was so angry that his white hair fluttered, and he stepped out. Standing on a high place, his hawk-like eyes looked around. At this moment, the wind and clouds suddenly surged. Before the sword supremacy's remaining power subsided, the saber supremacy attacked aggressively. It was yet another alarm that caught them off guard. So the long saber at Xiao Chenlei's waist popped out spontaneously, under the watchful eyes of everyone. Xiao Chenlei stood on a high place. First, the sword came out. Then, with a face full of anger, the saber also popped out. At this moment, Xiao Chenlei felt like he was a prostitute standing on a high platform for people to exhibit. An indescribable stupidity. Wasn't it enough to mess with you once? You actually had to stand on a high place and strike a cool pose like an idiot, waiting for others to mess with you a second time? What kind of naturally handicapped brain did you have? Xiao Chenlei didn't have time to be angry. Because in the sky, under the night sky, the saber sword supremacy had already launched an attack at the same time. The sword was in the west. The sword of the black swordsman in black robes came from the west. Eyes like a sword, body like a sword, mind like a sword, hand like a sword. At this moment, the vast mountains were already gone. Anyone who saw this sword would have the same feeling in their heart. In front of this sword, all things in the world can be forgotten. Happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy are not in the heart. Sword of oblivion. In the world, only this stunning sword was left. The sword energy was everywhere, filling the universe. Sovereign's Descent was the supreme martial artist sword technique. Jiyu Duxing let out a long howl. A black dragon like a swimming dragon slashed down violently like thunder and lightning. Oblivion martial world, Oblivion sword, solitary across the world, solitary move. On the other side, Dong Wushang laughed wildly. His body suddenly flashed and appeared in the air. With the black saber in his hand, his majestic body stood in mid-air. It was as if an insurmountable mountain had suddenly appeared out of thin air. Sentient heavenly Tao, I have sentiments. Wushang's saber knows that I won't be hurt. With the black saber raised, Dong Wushang stood still in mid-air. His legs were straight and his black hair flew up. And at this moment, the black saber came slashing down violently. This saber seemed to want to cut through the heavens. Jiyu Duxing's sword energy was everywhere, but Dong Wushang only used one saber move. The saber light was like a waterfall, zigzagging down from mid-air and slashing toward the top of Xiao Chenlei's head. Thousands of supreme martial artist sword energy also gathered from all directions, converging into a huge light blade and slashing at Xiao Chenlei. Sword supremacy Jiyu Duxing and saber supremacy Dong Wushang attacked at the same time at this moment. And they chose the same opponent at the same time, the most powerful second-grade supreme martial artist, Xiao Chenlei. Obviously, Dong Wushang and Jiyu Duxing wanted to test the power of a second-grade supreme martial artist. Therefore, this saber and sword move was imperative. The gap between them would also be made clear to the two at this moment. Although this move was slightly different from Mo Tianji's original intention of arrangement, Jiyu Duxing and Dong Wushang made the same choice without any discussion or communication at all. This was the choice of the heart of the strong. As long as there are strong people here, then I will never attack those who are slightly weaker. This was the pride and reserve in their bones. Xiao Chenlei roared. His beard and halberd spread out, and his saber and sword were unsheathed at the same time. As a master of both saber and sword, Xiao Chenlei naturally had his own pride. The dignity of a second-grade supreme martial artist was not to be blasphemed. Therefore, he didn't hesitate at all. His long sword flew through the air, meeting Jiyu Duxing's immortal-like sword attack. The saber light suddenly rose up and actually blocked Dong Wushang's lightning-like saber. Chapter 1403. There was a ferocious smile on Xiao Chenlei's face, but there was also a confident smile. Smart kids remember network super fast Hanzei saber and a sword attacked at the same time. Even though he was facing a sword supremacy and a saber supremacy, he still had absolute confidence that he could defeat both saber and sword supremacies in one fell swoop. Moreover, he wanted to use his unparalleled cultivation to severely injure both saber and sword supremacies at the same time. He wanted to use the most violent and barbaric way to defeat the enemy's best attack. This was the only way to defeat the enemy's fighting spirit. He wanted to plant a thought in the enemy's heart that you can never defeat me. Such a thought. As long as this saber and sword collided according to his expectations, then these two saber and sword supremacies would be crippled by him. The inner demons left behind by a frontal attack were far more harmful than any other inner demons. As long as these two were completely defeated by him, then there was more than a 10% chance that they would never be able to recover from this setback. Xiao Chenlei was even prepared for the follow-up divine consciousness attack and aura attack. The next moment, the saber light was like lightning, and the sword aura was like a rainbow. They approached at the same time. The two sword auras collided first, triggering a bright light in the air, scattering and shooting in all directions. Jiyu Duxing let out a muffled grunt. The sound of the saber whistled. Dong Wushang's saber slashed down with the force of a thunderbolt, but with a kind of naturally domineering aura. The two sabers collided violently without any trick. Xiao Chenlei let out a muffled grunt. Dong Wushang let out a loud roar, and his dark saber slashed down continuously. Like continuous flashes of lightning in the air. The rumbling sounds were endless. Xiao Chenlei's tyrannical recoil force also burst forth at this moment. Boom! With a loud roar, Jiyu Duxing's body pierced through the air like a sharp sword. With a sway, he disappeared without a trace. Dong Wushang's burly body retreated rapidly in the air. He spat out a mouthful of blood. His body turned into a small black dot as he retreated, and then disappeared. There was only a sigh of admiration left. Second grade supreme martial artist, you really live up to your reputation. Xiao Chenlei stood stiffly on the high platform. His expression was heavy, his gaze deep, and his long beard rustled. He actually didn't pursue the rocky ground under his feet. It slowly began to collapse, but it was shattered into powder by the saber light and sword energy, and slowly sank down 30 feet. Xiao Chenlei stood in the void just like that. Even with his cultivation as a mid-stage supreme martial artist, he was actually unable to protect the ground beneath his feet while taking on the opponent's saber and sword head-on. Everything caused by the remaining power was shattered. A layer of sweat broke out on Xiao Chenlei's back. There was still a lingering fear. Originally, he was trying his best to establish his prestige. Although he was being forced to deal with it, with his cultivation, this was nothing. Therefore, he had originally planned to completely shatter his opponent's attack with one strike, then immediately counterattack and destroy these two sword and saber geniuses who had delivered themselves to his doorstep. Even if it couldn't destroy life. He also wanted to destroy his self-confidence and self-respect. But now he found out. The one who was shocked was him. It was an extremely ferocious sword. The strike was so domineering that it left a deep impression on Xiao Chenlei. He could clearly feel that if the other party's cultivation could be a little deeper, if the other party could be on par with him, or even not on par with him, even if the other party was a few levels lower than him, at the level of an 8th grade supreme martial artist or a 7th grade supreme martial artist at the pinnacle, then at this moment, he was definitely a pile of minced meat. He was cut in half by a sword or a saber. That was a sure thing. The other party's aura didn't weaken at all. Even if he retreated with one move, that murderous aura was also rising steadily. There was a kind of feeling of complacency and complacency. Instead, it was him who was shocked and scared. Was this really just a 5th grade sword supremacy? 5th grade saber supremacy? Thinking of that horrifying aura just now, Xiao Chenlei was still scared. He was really too arrogant, if it wasn't for his 10,000 years of cultivation. Xiao Chenlei stopped himself from thinking further. Lifting up the saber and sword, looking at the obvious gap that was cut out, he was speechless for a moment. Jiyu Duxing struck with his sword and felt a majestic force coming at him head-on. At the same time that the sword light was released, it was rebounded. That feeling was like a light boat in the boiling sea, facing a huge wave head-on. Jiyu Duxing dealt with it with all his might, gathering all his cultivation and fighting with all his might. After one strike, Jiyu Duxing's face was pale and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. His wrist shook violently and he borrowed the force to escape. My current cultivation, compared to a 2nd grade supreme martial artist, is still insignificant. The gap is too big. In this strike, the feeling of death and the aura of a 2nd grade supreme martial artist as vast as the sea also made Jiyu Duxing understand a lot in an instant. So he retreated immediately without any reluctance. It was like a top assassin using his best skills to assassinate the enemy, but as long as the strike didn't work, he would retreat immediately. Only when he was thousands of feet away and in a safe range did he feel as if his whole body had been struck by lightning, and he felt a numbing pain all over. Looking up, dust and smoke filled the sky at the place where they exchanged blows. One day, I will reach this level. And that day is definitely not too far away, Jiyu Duxing said to himself silently in his heart. His internal organs were shaken, his qi and blood were boiling as if they were about to burst out of his body, and his heart meridians were almost broken. But his expression was calm and even a little happy. He took out an incomplete version of the heavy elixir and swallowed it, his eyes shining. A 2nd grade supreme martial artist was not unkillable. Dong Wushang waved his dark saber and slashed down like a hurricane. After one strike, his whole body shook violently and he flew out with the force of the impact without any resistance. His strength is even greater than mine. I can't kill him, I'm not his match. The distance between me and this person is still very far away. However, I could already feel what he was feeling at this point. I'm already clear. So I will definitely reach it. So I'll retreat for the time being. This feeling was very similar to When one was at a low level, looking at the peak of a mountain, it was like heaven on earth, completely unattainable. But when one climbed to a certain level and looked at the original position, one would see clouds and mist, and a stone mountain. Although it was still far away, it was already not unattainable. Dong Wushang was shaken violently and flew out. His meridians were about to break. All the blood in his body flowed backward almost instantly. But he didn't panic at all. He swallowed an incomplete version of the heavy elixir in midair and fled far away without looking back. I'm not his match today. But one day, even if I face a second-grade supreme martial artist alone, I will be able to kill him with one strike. Because I've already seen your level clearly. Xiao Chenlei stood in the air for a long time with a heavy expression. After a long time, he sighed and was about to drift down. But right at this moment, a clear voice said, "Kill this second-grade supreme martial artist, and that dragon bone and phoenix might will be in our hand. Today, I swear to attack with my life, I must get it." Xiao Chenlei was furious. Who was so arrogant? He turned to look, only to see that in the forest far away, a white-clothed figure stood in the wind, like the moonlight shining in the forest. This was an order. It came from his mouth. Xiao Chenlei was so angry that he laughed. "Junior, you're courting death." His arms shook. His whole person flew in the air like a great rock spreading its wings. He pounced on that figure in white, covering the distance of 10,000 feet in an instant. As the figure in white floated, it was already obvious that it was a young man in white, with a gentle face, handsome and graceful, looking at him with a calm gaze, without sorrow, joy, surprise, and fear. Facing a second-grade supreme martial artist who was about to come, his expression didn't change at all. Xiao Chenlei's eyes were like an eagle's. He opened his hands, and a big hand appeared out of thin air, grabbing fiercely. All of a sudden, there was a slight vibration in the air. Then, Xiao Chenlei discovered to his astonishment that a huge, bright and gorgeous flower had suddenly appeared in front of him. An extremely beautiful and dreamy flower slowly bloomed in front of him. Xiao Chenlei could even clearly see those gorgeous petals slowly unfurling in front of him, unfurling endlessly. It was like a lotus flower, blooming continuously, but the stamen that should have been exposed was nowhere to be seen. A fierce aura came down from above. Xiao Chenlei's thunderous eyes suddenly closed, and he slashed out with his sword. This was the most important trick to facing the viburnum flower. Close your eyes and don't look at the brilliance, but use your mind to sense the murderous intent and deal with the enemy. Xie Danqiong's eyes lit up. He already knew that his viburnum flower could affect the vision of even a second-grade supreme martial artist. This was enough. At the same time, a sword light like a furious dragon slashed out, and a clear roar sounded like a phoenix soaring in the sky. Xiao Chenlei, who had closed his eyes, suddenly felt as if a dragon and a phoenix had appeared in front of him, and they were joining forces to attack him. With a boom, the viburnum flower was dispersed by a single blow. Xie Danqiong had a satisfied smile on his face, and he fell down with blood at the corner of his mouth. On Xiao Chenlei's body, traces of being cut by the viburnum flower appeared again. Xiao Chenlei opened his eyes abruptly. He punched Ao Xieyun violently, and slashed Rui Butong swiftly with his saber. He didn't even have time to say anything. Ao Xieyun let out a dragon roar and retreated madly with a somersault. Rui Butong laughed and immediately retreated after that attack. Xiao Chenlei stood in the air majestically. When he looked around, the young man in white just now had already disappeared. He shouted, "Scoundrel! Come out and fight with me." Thinking of the murderous intent of the blooming flower just now, he almost lost himself in it. That roar like a divine dragon, that oppressive aura like a phoenix. Xiao Chenlei felt one thing with infinite urgency: if these enemies were not eliminated, they would be harmed sooner or later. These few small fries must not be left alive. There had never been a day when he had such an absurd feeling of being prepared for a rainy day. Moreover, the elder master of the Xiao clan had also never thought that this kind of mentality of being jealous of the talented would actually appear in him one day. Before this, no matter what kind of genius he saw, he would only smile and even look forward to the day when this genius would grow up. But today, he was afraid. A voice said, "If I want to come out, I'll come out. If I don't want to, I won't come out. But I'm not some scoundrel. You old turtle, apologize to me." Xiao Chenlei shouted angrily, "If you're not a scoundrel, can you still be considered open and aboveboard?" That voice howled like a wolf and rose up in rage. "A wu tilde damn old turtle, you've made Second Master Luo angry." A ray of sword light rose from the ground like a ferocious wolf foraging alone on the grassland. At the same time, another ray of sword light seemed to appear from the netherworld. Two rays of sword light, one from the left and one from the right, shot over at lightning speed. The one on the left was ferocious and wild, like a pack of wolves devouring. The one on the right, however, seemed to carry the murderous aura of heaven and earth, as well as a kind of resolute aura of slaughtering the whole world without stopping. It was Sword Master Chu who had made his move. What harm was there in slaughtering the whole world? Late update, sorry. The main thing is that after I finished writing a chapter, I realized that something was wrong, so I wrote a new chapter. It's really embarrassing. In the previous chapter, I wrote the comparison of strength wrongly. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.